because of the fact that the deception of Satan has literally enjoined the belief and the sovereignty of God in with his fiction, based on the deception of not only just religious leaders in general that are claiming to be Christian, the whole 501c3 movement of charitable tax exempt situations, which to an extent be a little careful about being tax exempt in the world of Caesar, because it could come with quite the ramifications for making a deal with the devil and his lawyers. But we're also understanding too that the world that was even spoken of in Scripture was to pay the tax. So when someone's exempting you from paying the tax, when the legal world is about the tax, then you have to start questioning. Maybe you're a little bit confused on what's really going on in this legal world. So one of the things that a lot of the 501c3 registered Christian faiths seem to have just a complete ridiculous viewpoint on, as is in Canada. We're no different. We may not call it a 50c3, but we do a 501c3, or we may call it actually just a non-charitable, no-share capital corporation. But when we're doing a research in do you swear for the record, we have to look at what happens when you enter into the world of legal fiction. You're swearing into the record. What's unique is the birth record that the parents fill at the hospital, the child has nothing to do with, so he certainly couldn't swear into the record. But when we're looking at Christ's words, we're going to take a look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 34. Now, this is the scripture that most of the registered legal Christian trade name faiths use to say that they're going to affirm their name. They're not going to swear into the record. So they're going to do an affirmation versus a swearing in under oath. And it says here, "But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne." So many basically have taken that down the direction, of course, certainly we're not going to swear. But we have to go a little bit further on this, because remember, the recording that they're doing in the court is for you to affirm the fictional name that you are taking on surety for. So Christ was surrounded at a world of the Roman civil system when he was alive, as were many of the apostles. So many of the writings are talking to you from that time, but you may not really comprehend what's going on because you've taken it down based on continuously repeating falsehoods given to you by someone who's already in the error, which is mainly these pastors, reverends, popes, you name it, whoever it is out there that's telling you to do or not to do something is generally so mixed up because they've got you involved in an unequal yoking with the world or the material system. So, and of course not telling you there is a remedy. So now we're going to go into the law, and we're going to go look at, let's see what Black's Law 4th edition says about these terminologies. So we're going to go to swear, and of course it starts off to put on oath, to administer an oath to a person. Now people have really started to feel that the word oath is a good thing, but in the legal world, oath is not, because it's dealing with something that's contrary to truth. You are basically, if anything, entering into a record to affirm that you've actually crossed the line onto the fiction. And therefore, your fact, which would have happened in truth, is now factitious. But it's actually recording the event that you've actually stepped into another jurisdiction that has nothing to do with the truth of God. Remember, legal is to collect. It has nothing to do with the law of God or the Bible. Don't mix the two up. Do not be unequally yoked in your beliefs on this matter. So we're going to swear, and it says to put on oath, to administer an oath to a person. Now remember, even the crown is a person in law, so they're only swearing into something that has to do with the legal. It has nothing to do with the truth of God. In fact, they're cursing that book, as you would be doing by entering in on an oath. And it goes further. It says, to take an oath, to become bound by an oath duly administered, to declare an oath, the truth of a petition. Now remember, when you request to get a birth certificate or to be known as a citizen of any of these legal nations, that is a petition. You weren't that in reality from birth. You're walking into fiction, so you're petitioning. So any of the oaths or anything you're affirming is only leading to that legal surname title that is tagged on to anybody in that world. Now you're part of the father of the law. You're part of his realm, not God's. Further, it says to use profane language. Profane meant outside the temple of God. So you were not protected by the spiritual temple of God anymore. So now you're in profane. You're using or saying something that's contrary to truth or Christ. And because Christ basically is truth, he is life, he is the light, by speaking or swearing into a record with a surname saying now you're a debtor, well, you're using something contrary to that. And on top of it, surname means over and above the Christian name. Therefore, it's contrary because it's blasphemous, because it's saying that the legal system or Caesar's world is greater than the supremacy of God with his anointed son, Jesus Christ, who purchased you. So when we go further, it says a punishable offense in many jurisdictions. Well, I guess it would be, because I've never seen anybody not walking in to something that's a joke, a pun, joke-ish man, a punishable offense. Now you're punishable to be processed in a world that is not natural. No different than processed cheese would be, wrapped up and ready to go in an unnatural form. Not to say that basically people even understand that, but they'll still go to that many times based on going to a natural form of the cheese, but they'll go to the wrapped up processed cheese. So, you know, are we going to be plastically wrapped in this situation? Are we that artificially deceived that we're not seeing any of this? Now we're going to go basically to the word curse, because, you know, we've gone this far, and many people at times will argue over these things. It's mainly because they haven't done the research. So when we go to the word curse, now we have cursing in Black's Law, it says malediction. Isn't it funny that you have malediction there? Very interesting word, because all the curse of inherited sin came from Adam, who was a male. So you have male diction, male speech, because it's relating, of course, to how they operate the title on the surname. Even on the family name, it's gone down a direction through the male bloodline. Imprecation, execration, profane words intended to convey hate and to invoke harm, swearing. When you go through other versions of that word, cursing, curseters, everything involved in it leads to the exchequer, leads to the birth certificate, leads to all the things that you're experiencing, but yet people can't even see the simplicity why they're doing cursive writing below that name. Could it be that all those things are just something that just happened, or is it because you're not watching, you're not seeing, you're not aware of what's going on?